I was on the path to wealth. Like I was on the path to wealth. I saw a path that appeared to be a shortcut to get there faster.
Mm.
And why was I in the big rush to get there faster, Shane? To get my dad's approval.
Mm.
My dad loves me. I know he loves me. He was a very good father. He would soccer games, tennis matches. Like my dad was a very present, involved dad. But he just did not know how to tell me he loved me. He didn't tell me he was proud of me. He kind of withheld that affirmation. And his thought process was he wanted me to keep trying harder. He didn't know it was just gutting me, right? So
Yeah.
literally, I'm a grown man taking insane levels of risk, putting my family and myself at risk, not knowing it was all just to crush it, create mega millions in my, in my 30s. And my dad would be like, wow, son, you did it. I'm so proud of you. Like I had like this movie fairy tale ending. And so that I say, so I had heart wounds, Shane. I had heart wounds, specifically father wounds. And when you have heart wounds, those create blind spots. So the reason why I was able to be duped, I don't blame those men. Those men are who those men are. They're sharks. They were
Yeah.
sharks, but it's my fault I was duped because I wanted to believe their lies. My wife saw through it. And I was like, no, babe, you're just a hater. You're being negative. This is how God wants to prosper and promote us. I was moving not in faith. I was moving in presumption. Very, very dangerous. I didn't want to see the red flags because I wanted to believe in this. And so I could tell you like so much of how I teach and train people how to be an entrepreneur today and prosper is just by avoiding some of those catastrophic mistakes I made.
Yeah, man.
I ended up $3 million in the hole, in debt to
Wow.
friend. I ended up in debt to friends and family members, people that I grew up with and I knew loved me and I loved them, were close friends, became foes, bitter enemies, lied about me, made false claims about me. It was the worst crushing I've ever experienced. And here's the biggest part of the biggest problem, Shane. I had never failed at anything in my life
Yeah. Didn't
until
know how to do it.
it,
Yeah.
so I didn't know failure. I was used to being the smart guy, the money guy, Pedro's the man. Pedro. I let people put me on pedestals. Here's a writer downer. If you let people put you on a pedestal, you're giving them permission to tear you down whenever
Mm.
they want to. So
Y'all better
now,
listen to that. Come on now.
no, I don't let anybody. This is why Jesus is so brilliant. He's like, hey, I don't take praise from men.
Yeah.
He said that. I don't take praise. You guys love the praise. You guys love to praise. You Pharisees, you guys love to praise each other. He's like, I don't take any praise from it. Right. Because with the minute you let men and women praise you, put you on pedestals, those same people who built you up will tear you down and have no problem doing it. And the tear down is 100 times more painful than the buildup. So,
I am one of
yeah.
the things in my background, like that always stress, like before I became an entrepreneur, I was a football coach. That's what I did. I taught and coached football. But it's funny, like I, as an assistant, like I kind of rocketed it up the ranks. So like I was an assistant at a high school, and then all of a sudden I was an assistant at a college, West Virginia University, and like I'd done all these things, and then I got the first year I ever tried to be a head coach as a high school head coach, I got a high school head coaching job. So I'm like on this high.
Yeah.
And then my first year I went 0-10, and I lost every game. And I'm so thankful for that experience before money was on the line. I'm so glad that I got to experience brutal, like, in a small town in the South, like football and basketball are everything, right? So like to go to church 0-10, to go to work 0-10, to see you 0-10 in the newspaper that everybody's reading was the
Yeah.
greatest preparation I could have ever had when I actually got to start making money, because I knew what failure really tasted like. We all have experienced failure in our entrepreneur journey for sure, but that context helps me, I think, see some things good or bad. Like if I'm going too far, pushing being too high on myself, I can look in the mirror and go, bro, you could be 0-10 next season. You better get your stuff right, son.
So what's the message here? Don't try to avoid failure. Like obviously, I'm not saying fail on purpose, but use wisdom, get counsel, do the best you can.
I do think entrepreneurs can avoid catastrophic failure.
Of course,
Like
they
once
can.
that's where I think people like some people take that failure mentality a little too far. Like it's okay to fail, but with wisdom, you can fail and recorrect and get
Yeah.
everything going faster again.